Hi, I'm Jocelyn Boiteau, and I'm a PhD candidate at Cornell University. Today I'll be presenting perspectives on quantity and quality food loss estimates across tomato supply chain actors in South India. So it's estimated that about 1/3 of all food is lost or wasted. And the food supply is determined by food produced, traded, and food lost along the way. If we consider fruits and vegetables specifically, the data show that there's an insufficient supply available in many regional food systems to meet per capita diet recommendations. Fruits and vegetables are among the more perishable food groups and are at more risk of food loss. In lower income regions, this loss mostly occurs between production and retail stages. Food loss estimates for perishable fruits and vegetables remain a bit of a black box because most quantity loss estimates rely on macro level data, though there have been more case studies coming out recently. So today I'll discuss food loss estimates from a field study we conducted, along with challenges we've encountered. So to start with the field study, this was conducted in South India, and we looked at fresh tomatoes. These are highly perishable vegetables, and India is among the largest tomato producing countries globally. We surveyed tomato supply chain actors from February 2019 to March of this year, and the study objective was to understand the stages and extent of quantity and quality food loss along tomato supply chains. We define food loss and waste as food intended for human consumption that is diverted away from human consumption. So if food went to animal feed, compost, or trash, for example, this counts as food loss. So looking at the data collected across the tomato supply chain, we started in Chittoor District in Western Andhra Pradesh, and this is a major tomato producing region in the state. We also went to Hyderabad, which is about 500 kilometers north, and it's a major city that imports tomatoes. So starting at the farm level in Chittoor District, we surveyed smallholder farmers at their farm on the day that they were harvesting tomatoes. Farmers then take their tomatoes the next day to the Madinapalli tomato wholesale market, and this market is among the largest tomato-specific wholesale markets in South Asia. So here the farmers grade and sort tomatoes and organize them into lots for auction. After surveying the farmer at the wholesale market, we observe the auction and invite the tomato traders who purchase tomatoes from our study farmers to participate in the survey. So the tomatoes are repacked, loaded onto trucks, and then they're sent out from the market. A second team in Hyderabad conducted monthly surveys with vegetable traders who trade tomatoes at urban vegetable wholesale markets. They also conducted monthly surveys with vegetable retailers in Hyderabad who sell tomatoes. So looking at quantity losses, for farmers, we measured loss two ways. We looked at farmer reported quantities, and we also took quantities based on physically counting crates. So we calculated the percent of harvested tomatoes lost after post-harvest activities and the percent of tomatoes brought to the market that were graded and sorted for auction. For all of our estimates, we see that compared to the mean and standard deviation that's typically reported in food loss literature, for our estimates, the median and IQR better reflect the distribution. And this is true for estimates across all of our supply chain actors that I'll get into in the following slides. So for farmers, it appears that they experience most of the food loss at the farm level. There are a few challenges with collecting this data. The first was the timing of farm activities and survey logistics. Also, the feasibility of capturing on-field losses was a challenge. And finally, the farmer recall of quantities. So there were some differences between the quantities farmers reported harvesting and what we counted, the crates that we counted. So after tomatoes have been purchased at the auction and repacked, most tomato traders report no loss, though there were a few challenges in collecting data at this level. So traders are busy going around to different auctions and may choose not to participate in the survey on that day, affecting our response rate. About 90% of the time, traders are mixing different auctions together during repacking, so we're not able to isolate tomatoes from our participant farmer. And lastly, the wholesale market is about a 4-acre area, and there are a number of people involved with supervising the repacking, not just the tomato trader themselves who are surveying. So this, in addition, this spatial distance makes it difficult to count crates for our team. Lastly, the vegetable traders and retailers in Hyderabad report loss once they finish selling tomatoes for the day. So for both supply chain actors, data collection challenges included the activity times and sale times. So vegetable traders start auctions before sunrise and they finish by late morning, whereas vegetable retailers have a range of business hours. This challenge also ties into our ability to count crates, given that we weren't able to observe the entire process in a day. Looking at quality, we asked each supply chain actor about what are the important tomato quality attributes to them. And so we see that across the supply chain actors, their responses are quite different. So color and size are the only attributes where over half of farmers consider it to be an important quality attribute, whereas most tomato traders consider firmness followed by shine and size as important. Vegetable traders and retailers report color, firmness, and size as important attributes. So when we asked actors to report on quality loss, only the farmers and retailers reported some level of quality loss, and the farmers reported the most, about an average of 6% of their harvest. So some concluding thoughts. Overall, we need to refine quantity and quality food loss estimation methods, particularly for perishables. So in our study in South India, we found that farmers report the most quantity loss among supply chain actors, and tomato traders and vegetable traders report the least quantity loss. Supply chain actors report different important quality attributes. And so our next step is to really examine the determinants of loss, the details on quality assessment, and supply chain actor decision making. But more broadly, we need to continue collecting micro-level food loss data, for example, through case studies, because the global or other macro-level estimates don't provide enough of the context on the stages and distribution of food loss. When doing this, it will be important to document the supply chain complexities that relate to estimating food loss so that we can compare and contrast different supply chains across contexts. Specifically for quality loss, we need to look at quality assessment in the real-world setting and how supply chain actors are acquiring and using knowledge of quality attributes to make decisions, and this will require using field-based techniques to estimate quality loss. Thanks for listening.